name is Temidayo. Yeah. So today I will quickly show you how you can bring in any model into your game, into your GTA game, uh, using the Sollumz tool within Blender. You know, so I'm just going to do this so fast, not that fast, but to some point to which you can understand. So now this is a box, so I wish to bring this box into Blender. Into the game, into GTA. So now the first thing I'm going to do is to convert this model. This box is to convert it to a drawable. That's the first thing you do. So it's applied to anything you want to bring into the game. So it's to convert to a drawable. So the first thing, so I think it's always advisable to give this a proper name that will work well for you. So I can just call this cube. Let's say, just call this cube underscore MLO. So for better understanding, so I'm an outliner there, here. So call this cube MLO, cube underscore MLO. So now the first thing to do is to convert this to a drawable. So how do I do that? I want to believe that if you're watching this, you've already installed Sollumz within your Blender. And if you don't know how to do that, there are video tutorials online on YouTube that can be of help to you. So now this is my own Sollumz tools. So under general, we always see import, code export. Then coming down to drawable. So the first thing you do is to convert that model you wish to bring into the game to a drawable. So this is the drawable icon here. Then I can click on the create drawable object. Now this is what I'm going to make use of. So I'm going to convert this to a drawable. So I just click convert to a drawable. You see here it says successfully converted all selected object to drawable. That's what you see. Now the moment you click like, then when you check your outliner here under the cube MLO, now I have the cube MLO.model, then the cube, then the material. Now for any model to enter into the game, there is a need for you to give them a proper material. So the material that comes with Blender on its own is different from what is on the material you are going to apply to enter into the game. So now for this currently now under the material icon here, so this is the Blender material that's with it. So this is not what we are going to be using. Within the Sollumz, that's where we're going to be applying our material. So when I come down under shader tools, then we have different shaders here. So I'll just go for normal spec. Yeah, as you can see here, normal spec. So I can create shader material. So this is a material for the game, for any model you are bringing to your game. So we have so many of them. It depends on what you need. So now, but for the purpose of this tutorial, we just stick to normal spec. So I will remove this material, the default one. So now I have this normal spec. Now we need to apply within our material. So I will have to split this screen. So let me split this screen and I'll come down to shader editor. So now this is the material that we apply. Now we need to pick the texture we want to make use of. We need to pick the texture we want to make use of. So I'll go down to pick so and make sure one thing that is very important is that whatever texture you are applying must be a .dds file. So whatever image, you just check this out. Let's say you click on this, then come down to where I saved the file I can use. Now all these ones you are seeing here, they are all .dds file. So there are also tutorials out there on YouTube that can teach you how to convert any material to .dds. So let me just say for this tutorial, pick let me just pick any material. Okay, let me pick this sidewalk, this material. So the diffuse, also for the spec, I can also pick for the spec. I can pick that. Then also for the bump, I can pick this. I can pick for the bump, the normal. So now the first time you are going to be applying this texture, it won't show. Yes. So when I come down to here, you see look at what it's showing me. I saw it coming down under my shading tab. See what I'm having now. I'm not seeing my textures. So you don't have to panic. All you just have to do is to export it out, then import it back in. Then the textures will be applied. Then from there we can now scale it, to fit in properly. So now what I'm saying is this. Remember, we've converted this to a drawable from outliner. The first thing we did to convert to drawable, we've done that, and we've applied our texture. Now, yeah. So when I click this, so we've applied our texture. Now, another thing before I moved on is to make the material I applied embedded. So when I showed my tab back, so I can come down here to under the tools to say set all textures embedded, set all material embedded. So you just have to do that so that by the time you are importing back in, the textures you apply to it might comes in with it. So now the next thing we are going to do is to export it out, just as I've said. Now we can't see our texture now on our model. So all we need now is to export out. So how do we do that? On your outline now, make sure that you click on the cube MLO, on your model, then right click on it, then you see select hierarchy. So you have to make sure you select, this is normal for whatever you are trying to bring into the game. This is just the process. You understand? So you need to right click, then select hierarchy. Then after then, now come down to our tab here, come down to export to code worker. So we are going to export it. So let me just export it to where I can find it. So just make sure you export to where you can easily locate it. So let me export here. Now it has been exported. So now what I need to do is to import it back. So I will just switch this off, put down off, then import it back using this general import code worker. So just look for where I store my own box. QML, okay, here is mine. Can you see? So I import it back. Now we have the textures applied on it. You see? So now, but the textures they're overscaled. So we need to scale them down to to proper fit. So how do we do that? I'll just have to come down to my UV editor, then click on my model. Then, depends on which kind of unwrapping you want to do. I believe you are familiar with unwrapping. If you are the type that makes use of Blender, you know what unwrap is. So I can press U, then unwrap. I can use conformer. So at least for this, it depends on whatever you want to use. Someone can decide to make use of smart UV projects, also even project from view, different kind of unwrapping mode. It all depends on what you want at that particular time. So for the sake of this tutorial, let's just pick a conformer, and then from there, now this is not what we're looking for. So I can now scale this up from here. Then we start to see, okay, see, you can scale up, then start to see the changes coming down on your model. So now depends on one to one. So let me just, okay, let's stop it here. Can we use this? Are we okay with this? Yeah, let's say we're okay with this. Or I can decide to do the face one after the other. It all depends on what you want. So let me just say this face and wrap this face separately. Let's unwrap this face separately. You then project from view, see? So I can scale this up to fill up this. See? So this gives me more detail. So now, let's say I'm okay with this. Now, what's the next thing to do? Is for you to export it out. That's the next thing. So it's just as simple as that. Then, the same thing we did the other time. We are going to click on it, right click on it, select hierarchy. Just have to ensure that, okay, everything is in order. Okay, set hierarchy, export code worker. Then we export it out. Then it's out. Then the next thing is to bring in, remember we are bringing in this into our game. So the next phase now is for us to open our RPF code worker, is within code worker, RPF Explorer for code worker. It's an RPF Explorer. If you don't understand this, I will say it again, there are video tutorials to help you on that. So this tutorial is just to put you through on how you can easily bring in any model into your game. So now I'll open my Explorer. Yeah. So there's always this folder this mod folder where you set up by the time you are setting up your code worker. So this is where mine is. Okay. Now the next thing for me, let me bring. So the next thing for me is to now drag. So drag what I've made, which is the box MLO. What is it? Why is it? Okay, cube MLO DZ. So I'll just drag this in here. So I will now look for it where. I'm not looking for the cube. Okay, here it is. So I drag it in. So when I double click on it, you see, it's showing here already. So I can see it within my code worker Explorer. You see, the texture applied. So now the next thing is, how will these now show up in my game? That's the next thing we want to do now. How will these show up in my game? So that's where we need also we are going to open our code worker properly. So this is the code worker Explorer. We're still going to open our code worker properly. So I'm going to pause this for it to open up. Okay, I forgot to mention, while we're working within our Blender, there are two files that we need to get out of our Blender. Number one is the YDR, and number two is the Y2YP. So the Y2YP is for it to show up even when we call it out in our code worker. So how do we generate our Y2YP? It's simple. You just come down to your archetype definition down here. Then this is the Y2YP you can plus, yeah. What name do you want to give it? Let's call it cube MLO. Cube MLO. Then what's the next thing? We need to generate the archetypes of this cube. So all you just have to do, make sure you on the outline now, you are clicking, you're on it, you are active on it. Then what you do next is now click your auto create. then it's going to generate our MLO for us, cube MLO dot 00. So it's going to generate that for us. Maybe in the next tutorial I might, because we ought to generate with it a collision. So, but I don't want to burden us with that now. At least let me first of all show you how you can bring in any model into your game. Maybe in the next tutorial I'm going to be adding collision with it. So here now is my Y2YP. So I can now export it out. So when I click export, so let me save it here. Export. Now it's out. The same way I dragged my YDR, the same way I dragged this cube MLO YDR, I'm going to drag this cube MLO Y2YP also. So I'm going to drag it into my RPF Explorer. So the Y2YP is just full of code. Okay, where does it drop? Cube, okay, Y2YP. So when I open it, see, it's full of code. Okay, there might be a problem here because of this dot 001. I ought to have cube MLO